A new study is sounding the alarm on something most patients never think to question: where their generic medications are made. For years, consumers have been reassured that generics are just as safe and effective as their name brand counterparts. But behind that blanket promise lies a disturbing truth, especially for drugs made in India. According to this new research, Indian-made generics are associated with a 54% higher rate of severe adverse events, including hospitalization, long-term disability, and even death, compared to equivalent drugs manufactured in the United States. This revelation, published in Production and Operations Management, throws a harsh light on a corner of the pharmaceutical industry that operates largely without public scrutiny. It also challenges one of the most basic assumptions in modern healthcare, that all generics are created equal. The data suggests that they aren't, and that where your medication is made could make a life or death difference. The researchers were able to link specific generic drugs to the exact manufacturing plant where they were produced, something even the FDA refuses to disclose. This was a key breakthrough. By overcoming this barrier, the team was able to conduct a true apples-to-apples comparison of identical drugs made in the US and those made in India. The ingredients were the same, the dosage was the same, and the route of administration was the same. But the outcomes? Far from equal. The damage seems to be most pronounced among older generics, medications that have been on the market for years. Over time, as these drugs become cheaper and more commoditized, manufacturers are under pressure to cut costs. In developing markets, that often translates into looser quality control, supply chain shortcuts, and more lenient production practices. It's no coincidence that 93% of the generics from emerging economies in this study came from India, a country that supplies a massive share of the global generic drug supply but has repeatedly faced criticism for manufacturing lapses and safety scandals. What makes this worse is the uneven playing field in regulatory oversight. The FDA conducts surprise inspections at U.S. manufacturing sites, a reasonable safeguard to catch potential violations. But inspections at overseas plants are prearranged. This gives companies ample time to clean up or hide issues, effectively neutering the inspection process and allowing subpar manufacturing practices to continue undetected. Let's be clear, this isn't about demonizing India or arguing against all offshore drug production. There are good and bad manufacturers in every country, including the US. But the problem lies in a regulatory system that does not treat all facilities equally, even as it tells patients to trust all products the same. That's not just misleading, it's dangerous. And this isn't just an abstract concern. Millions of people rely on generic medications every day to treat everything from infections to high blood pressure to chronic pain and mental illness. For patients living on fixed incomes or without insurance, generics are often the only affordable option. They have every reason to believe those pills are safe. And in too many cases, they might not be. It's especially troubling that this study had to work around the FDA to get this information. Why is the public kept in the dark about where their medications are made? Why are manufacturers shielded from scrutiny when lives are at stake? If anything, this research should be a wake-up call that radical transparency is urgently needed in the pharmaceutical supply chain. The solution isn't to shut down global production, but to raise the bar and make sure it's consistent, regardless of location. That includes enforcing unannounced inspections across all manufacturing sites, making country of origin labeling mandatory, and publicly disclosing adverse event data by manufacturer. Consumers have the right to know what they're putting into their bodies and whether it could be putting them at risk. Until that happens, the warning is clear. Just because a generic drug is FDA approved doesn't mean it's free from danger. And in a system where cost-cutting is king and oversight is selective, it may be time to start asking harder questions about the hidden cost of cheap medicine.